Hello and welcome to Super Hexagon. I am Tarquinn and I'm here with,
Bertrador, hello.
and we're playing a game.
Yeah. So the idea here is that I'm recording it on my channel, for my channel. He's recording it on his channel, and we're both uploading our separate games while we're competing.
To see who gets the furthest in a set amount of time.
Yeah. So at the end of the video, whoever got the high score today wins and gets to punch each other the other in the face. I don't
gets
know.
all the prizes.
All the bragging rights. Oh hey, I got a high score.
I get all the bread.
I want to be Bertrador, please.
Oh, whoops. Wow, that was a fail.
I can't type. Door.
You have to type the number or the letters. You can't type super fast or it'll do double letters sometimes or skip letters.
Okay.
It's kind of annoying.
So doing commentary on this game, we reckon, is pretty much impossible. So we are going to, in every video, discuss a random topic that we picked in advance.
Yes, and we're going to do all the difficulty levels.
Yeah, one video for each. And today's
six video series.
Yes, Tarquinn plays this game a lot. Today is my first time ever playing it, so that's interesting. And I've only ever practiced the first 3 difficulties, so that'll be extra fun. Oh, also I highly recommend split screening our videos. I went the wrong way. Watching one on the left and one on the right.
Yeah, that would probably be the best way to do it.
Yeah, though.
I concur.
Since the screen is pretty much the same on both sides, all it lets you do is see what we react to. What's going on?
Exactly.
So
yeah, because it would be kind of weird.
Our topic for today is arcade games. Do you want to start or should I?
You can start.
Okay, my earliest memory of playing any arcade games was Frogger at the dentist.
Oh wow.
He had it wasn't like an upright arcade where you stand at it with the joystick and the screen is in front of you. It was like you look down at it like it was a
tabletop?
Yeah.
Like those old Pac-Man machines in the pizzerias?
I have no idea, but I imagine
the
so.
2-player Pac-Man machines? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like a glass table with an arcade game inside of it.
And it was really one of my early video game experiences was Frogger at the dentist. I'm pretty sure it might not have been the dentist, it might have been the doctor or something like that, but it was definitely the sort of place where you go and you talk to the receptionist and then you sit down in the waiting room. And there was a Frogger there.
I remember playing video games at my dentist, but it was a Nintendo 64.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool. But yeah, the earliest arcade memory I have, I know I played arcade games before this, but the fondest memory I have was my family went to the beach and me and my brother were old enough that we played video games, and our sisters were young enough that they didn't play video games at the time. And we were walking down the beach, we were just checking out the local buildings all around.
Yep.
And me and my brother wanted to walk into the lobbies of all of the different hotels around the area. And we walked into one of them, and there was an old SNK 4-in-1 arcade cabinet there.
Yeah.
And our parents just, I guess, wanted to go walk on the beach together. So they gave us both a sleeve of quarters, and we just played on that thing until nighttime in that arcade. And it was stuff like Fatal Fury and what was the Metal Slug, and
did it have Samurai Showdown?
Probably. And there was another game that wasn't a fighting game. I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
It was some kind of a platforming game, but we played it a lot and it was super fun.
That's cool.
So that's definitely my first fond arcade memory.
Yeah, I have there was a store, probably like a Walmart or something, that there were arcade games in the entryway. And it was, the sort of store that my mom had to go to somewhat regularly, but not as regularly as grocery shopping. And so whenever I went, I would ask if I could play an arcade game. And my brother, often there as well, and we would play. They had like Altered Beast, and I don't remember all of them, but the main one was Turtles 2.
Ooh,
And
I
so,
love that one.
So we played Turtles 2 on that arcade, and we were terrible.
I remember my local theater. It was a dollar theater back when dollar theaters actually only cost $1. Now they're like $3 or $5 or something.
Mhm.
They had one of those 4-player original X-Men arcade cabinets. The one that had Nightcrawler and Psylocke and all them on it. And that was the first time that Nightcrawler became my favorite X-Men, because I was like, whoa, this guy can teleport everywhere. That's so cool. I want the ability to teleport. And I do remember playing Turtles 2 at that place as well, but me and my brother loved the X-Men one. He would always be Cyclops, and I would always be Nightcrawler. When we played Ninja Turtles, he'd always be Leonardo, and I would always be Michelangelo. Because I liked the goof-off character, and he liked the character that had blue on. I don't know if he liked Leo for any other reason. His favorite color was blue, that's all I remember.
Okay.
I liked Mikey because he liked eating and he liked making jokes. My two favorite things.
So, because I'm the youngest brother, I have 3 older brothers, and significantly older. I would often hang out with them and their friends, and I was always, and sometimes we would go to arcade games, and that was cool. And I was good at video games. I could compete with them playing games. I remember there was one time hanging out with my brother, who was like 7 years older than I am, and his friends, and Street Fighter had just come out, like Street Fighter Turbo or something, and we were playing that, and I would beat them. Here I was.
That's cool.
I don't know how old I was, but I could definitely hold my own against these guys. But going to the arcade with them, they were so much better at everything than I was, and I was especially amazed by the shooter games, with the gun, where you have to shoot off the screen to reload. Do you remember all those, like Area 51?
The Zapper games? Yeah, I remember those games.
I could not
and Jurassic
play
Park
those.
was an awesome one too. You ride around in the car and shoot at the dinosaurs.
But,
those are really cool.
Yeah, I loved watching those guys play those games, but man, I could never do it.
I actually do have a Street Fighter memory in an arcade. This was a mall arcade back when malls had arcades in them. There was a Street Fighter 2 cabinet in there, and me and my brother would always go play it. And one day we went in there, and Street Fighter 2 wasn't there, but the cabinet looked exactly the same. There was what had replaced it was a very subtle Street Fighter 3, and this was back in like the mid-90s. And we were thinking, Street Fighter 3, that has to be awesome. And we play it, and it was still the same 8 characters from Street Fighter 2, but all of their movesets had been changed around, and the characters' physics had been changed. Somebody had put a hacked Street Fighter 2 arcade machine in the arcade. And this was way before I even knew about video game hacking.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it. They were like, whoa, Street Fighter 3. And you could tell it was like they had put duct tape on the side of it and wrote Street Fighter 3 on the side of it.
Wow.
Like they put a sticker over the 2 that had a 3 on it, basically. But it was really fun. I remember Blanca could do his roll in midair, and so could Ryu and Ken do their spin kick, their hurricane kick. But the thing I remember the most was Blanca could shoot the sonic boom out of his eyes. So that was really weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a crazy game.
Tasted
But
it.
yeah, that was my first experience with ROM hacking. And it was an arcade cabinet.
Do you ever go to like toy stores where they had games just up where you could play them?
Yeah,
Is
the
that-
little console,
is that a
the
common
demo
thing?
consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
did-
Toys R Us was the most common in Kmart and Sears, I think,
Ooh.
or Walmart and Sears.
I have no idea.
I think those were the ones you could play them in. But yeah, I remember that. I remember playing a Virtual Boy at Walmart.
I played against somebody in Super Street Fighter doing that. Just another kid about my age.
Oh, like just testing it out or doing a competition?
No, just he was playing it, and I walked up and started playing it with him, and we played for a while. It was
Me and my
cool.
brother went to a video game competition at a Blockbuster when we were younger.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd never do that.
I was playing. What game did I play?
Ooh,
Super Mario Brothers 3, and it was a coin challenge. See how many coins you could collect in 5 minutes.
oh, cool.
And he played Bucky O'Hare, the game you recommended to me or
Cool.
requested. And the challenge for his group, he's younger than me. He was in a younger group category. His challenge was to get as many points, and he didn't hear them announce that, or rather, they didn't announce it loud enough for everybody to hear. And he thought it was just get as far as you can, so he was avoiding all of the point farming areas, and he got like 3 levels into the game in 5 minutes, and everybody else was just staying on the first level killing enemies, and he was like, what's going on? Why I'm way further than these guys? And he lost because he had the least amount of points.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't. He still says, they didn't tell me, or they told me the wrong thing, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's funny, but I do remember that. It was pretty cool.
That is
It's the only one I remember going to.
So probably the coolest experience I had in an arcade was my brother had a friend, or my sister had a friend. One of them had a friend who worked at an arcade, and there was one day we all, my brother and his friends and me, we all went down, and he handed us a bag of tokens just for free.
Oh, cool.
And we just played whatever we wanted for free for hours.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember tokens. Now it's all just direct credit card or something, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Arcades are pretty much gone these days.
There's still an arcade in the city that I used to live in. It's called Frankie's Fun Park.
Well, I went to.
It also has the go-karts and baseball hitting thing.
Well, I went to Walmart today, and it had a little arcade in it. Just probably with, I didn't look in, but a couple of games probably. But it's not really. It's like, to get real arcade feel these days, you have to have something special that you can't play at home. Can't simulate at home.
And they don't have that anymore because consoles are better than arcade
Well,
machines now.
You'd have to like build a whole something, I mean, like back in the day, it was as simple as just making a racing game with a steering wheel. But
Yeah.
these days, you have crazy joystick configurations you can buy for mech games.
I used to play Cruis'n USA in the arcade. That's the only racing game I remember playing. Well, and Ridge Racer I played a couple of times.
Now, that was another one. When I was really young, I would try to play with my brother and his friends, but I couldn't reach the pedals.
You must have been young in the arcade.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can barely reach
I
the
remember
pedals
being
now.
able to reach
Small guy.
everything. But my brother was younger than me, so he was always the tag-along. He's 2 years younger than
Yeah.
me, so I imagine everything was a lot bigger to him than it was to me.
Well, you're taller than I am anyway. I imagine you probably always
I'm
were
6
taller
foot.
than I am. Yeah, I'm like 5'9".
Yeah, my brother's a little taller than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine.
Yep.
Everybody used to think we were twins when we were younger, even though we were different heights, and I don't know. He had curly hair, I had wavy hair. I didn't really think we looked all that much alike, but my mom said everybody thought we were twins. It's weird. We're 22 months apart.
Oh, well, that's not very long.
2 years.
I remember there was one arcade game that I always loved. It was a tank game, and at the time it had really cutting-edge 3D graphics,
I think I might know which one you're talking
Everything was
about.
rendered in 3D, and the controls, you had 2 joysticks to control yourself.
Yeah, I remember.
Like legitimate
remember that.
tank controls. And you had your...
But it was a mech game that I remember.
Oh,
It wasn't
really?
tanks.
No, mine was
Yeah.
definitely tanks. There were like 6 or 8 tanks to choose from, and they all had different stats. And you had 2 attacks.
Yeah, I do remember that game.
There was just a machine gun or something, and then missiles you could launch.
Yeah, you had to. It had weird controls too because you had to lean both joysticks to the right to turn right or
No.
something.
If you leaned both joysticks to the right, you would slide right. If you
Oh, slide,
if
yeah.
you leaned one forward and one back, you would turn.
Yeah, I remember that. I know exactly what game you're talking
I
about.
thought those controls were just the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, that was. I also remember the Super Punch Out with the boxing gloves controls.
Oh, really?
You slip your hands into the little.
I never even.
I mean, it didn't have actual boxing gloves, but it had little guards on the front of it.
I've heard of those. I've
Just
never even seen
pummel
one
you.
though. Oh,
It was so cool.
never. There were always like bicycle games. I guess not always, but these were later. Oh, went the wrong way. Bike games where you had to pedal, and skiing games where you were like early Wii Fit games. Is what they were.
Yeah. Did you ever play any of the Play Choice 10 arcade cabinets, Nintendo's arcade cabinets? They just had Nintendo games in there, like 10 Nintendo games.
That doesn't sound familiar.
It was pretty cool because they had exclusive versions of games that were slightly different than the home versions, but it was still Nintendo game technology, slightly more improved.
You know what? There was a thrift store we would go to that had a Mario arcade game. And
there was a Mario Player's Choice 10.
yeah,
had
and it
different
was. I
level
remember
layouts.
playing it and falling down. And I was just running because I knew Mario so well. It was just Super Mario Brothers, or yeah. And I ran forward and fell down a pit that I'd never seen before.
Yeah, that was probably the Play Choice 10.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it had games you could choose. Like I remember one of the ones specifically that stood out was Goonies, because only Goonies 2 came out in America.
Yep.
But Goonies 1 was fully translated, but it never made it to the console. It was only on the Play Choice 10 cabinet.
Wow, that's really interesting.
And I personally think Goonies 1 is better than Goonies 2.
Darn it, I hate it.
So
when I
what's
go
your
the
best
wrong
score so far?
direction. 50 something.
Oh wow, not bad. You're getting way better, way faster than I was at this game, which I'm not surprised at. I do think you're a slightly higher level video game player than I am. Which is odd because I think we did fairly evenly when we did our Street Fighter race. I was expecting you to do way better, but we ended up having almost the exact same score.
We tied. We had to do a tiebreaker in that game.
Yeah, we did. I remember that.
Wrong way again.
We both had to play the same character or something like that. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Viewers, you should go back and watch it and tell us how it ended
It
in the
was
comments.
great. I actually think that was a great series.
It was a good series.
They're only like
One of my viewers said, "Hey man, he custom designs arcade controllers for current generation consoles."
yeah.
And he said, "Hey man, me and you should play some Street Fighter." And I said, you'd probably beat me pretty bad, but you should go over to Bertudor's channel. I'm sure he would challenge you to Street Fighter. And I don't know if he ever
Yeah, I did
sent
get
you a message.
somebody asking me if I wanted to play Street Fighter on the
It's
arcade.
probably him.
Yeah.
Oops.
Completely off. I guess it's not off topic. It's still talking about arcade.
I'm not gonna tell you what my score is. You just have to watch it on my channel.
Oh.
Lol, 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 lol.
It's probably like 112. No, because I'd hear you get really excited if you were up to 112.
I'm actually not paying that much attention to the game,
No,
and I'm
me
doing
either.
fairly well.
I'm
I say as I run into a wall.
just sort of zoning.
Yeah. I've gotten my second highest score during this play session,
Ugh. You're supposed to be able to compete
if
here.
that tells you. Hey, you're doing good. You're doing way better than I did in the first week playing this game, and this is your first day playing it.
Yeah. Well, I don't expect to win any of these videos, but I want to be able to compete.
Yeah, I understand. You're definitely a competitor. You like the challenge of competition. Because were you the one that originally came up with the idea of races, or was that Tofu?
I saw somebody else do it and thought that was the greatest idea and wanted to do it. They were doing
I remembered hearing Tofu Boy talk about somebody doing a Final Fantasy X race,
yep, that's
and I
what it
watched the
was.
first episode of it, and I didn't really like it.
Oh, they only ever did one episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I only ever
I
watched one
wanted them to
episode.
do more. I was looking forward to that.
It was like a 40-minute episode, something like that.
Well, game's slow to start.
Yeah, it was mostly intro.
Yeah. So I remember one game that would like draw crowds to the arcade. Not like Galaga, because that was before my time, but Virtua Fighter.
Oh yeah, I remember Virtua Fighter was very popular.
I remember that game was such a big deal, and then when it came out on consoles, it was such a big deal. Oh, time. Kill yourself and...
Okay.
What's your best?
69-47.
51-29.
That's not bad.
Alright, everybody is a member. Jador and Tarquinn playing Hexagon Super Adventure Time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.